Hi guys, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and firstly, thank you to all of my 41 subscribers for subscribing. It means a lot, and I'm really thrilled to have you kind of watching and engaging, so thank you so much. And also thanks to everyone who's found me on Instagram and has been following and engaging over there. It's really great to get kind of a more instant reaction. So I thought it's time I dealt with my sinking funds, because this week, I've not been doing too well on my goals. I'm quite behind on them. I have had a couple, and by week I don't mean budgeting week, I mean kind of week starting on Monday just gone and then up to this tomorrow, Sunday, I think. I've had a couple more bad health days than I thought I would have, and that's definitely created an impact. Now, what happens when I get kind of a little bit unsteady or anxious or feel like I'm falling behind is I tend to get spendy. Or I then have to, now don't worry, I've not gotten spendy. This isn't another one of those, oh my gosh, plan with me because I've gone spendy and things have all gone wrong. No, it's not the case at all. But this is just, I have been aware in the back of my mind that I have sinking fund things set up here, here and here. And currently they're empty, and that's okay. But I don't know what I want to put in them. I don't know what order I need to focus on. I don't know whether some are spending or some are saving. And then equally as well, and this may just, I don't know if anyone else has this, I'm really grappling internally with the fact that I need to pay money towards debt. Quite a lot of money. In fact, my debt total is not far off my annual income as it currently stands. So I have, say, a year's worth of earnings that I need to put to debt. But then equally, I have things I need to save for. And I'm really grappling with the saving aspect versus the putting the money towards paying off debt. Now, I know logically that half of my problems is particularly if I look at the family element of my debt, where I've needed to borrow money for things like car repairs and being behind on rent or bills, or having an emergency that I needed to be dealt with. If I'd had those savings and I'd had those sinking funds in place, I wouldn't have as much debt as I do. The trouble I've had paying my bills, and which has led to a lot of my consumer debt, is one aspect of my behaviour, but my inability to stash money because I just want to spend is something slightly different. So I will get over that. It's just something I need to get over, but it's something that I am internally grappling with. So I thought that what I would do is just do a breakdown of what are my spending sinking funds and what are my saving sinking funds. And then I have these as a record to refer back to. And if I ever get panicked or if I ever get stressed and go, I don't know what I'm doing, I can always come back to this one. Now, ideally, if I put, say, £50 in a sinking fund, I would like to have equally paid £50 off towards debt. I don't know if that's possible, but maybe that will just help settle my thoughts and feelings about spending or saving, versus debt payoff. So, like I said, I've broken them down. I have separated out my kind of wallets, and these are ones that I've created myself, into my these actually are the savings ones, so they're the wrong way around, into my saving ones and versus the things that I may need to spend out for over a year. I've also pulled out anything that's kind of a standard weekly envelope, like a food shop or a fuel petrol top up or things like that. So what I will do off camera, because I don't want this video to run too long today, because like I said, my health isn't great, but I want to try and keep going with this and documenting every step of the journey. What I will do later on is I'll just put some little post-it notes on the front just saying target X and target Y, but I won't do that on camera because I think it will run too long. So today's coffee is Free Dobby, which I don't think you can see, but I love this mug. And we have a slightly lukewarm mocha in there, which I will be drinking. And I also have some other fluids on hand as well. So if this video cuts off, it's because health and lungs have gone no, but we're going to try and persevere if I can. So that's enough of me waffling, and let's get to it. So I'm actually going to start with the savings ones first. Now, this partly has come about because last night I was added onto the dreaded Hen Do WhatsApp group. And I'm just going to leave that there for a second. Now, This is a wedding for one of my closest cousins. She's a very dear friend of mine, and I'm utterly thrilled. The wedding is in August, but I don't yet know when the hen do is. But I know there was 21 of us, and I went on her sister's hen do, and that was a weekend in Bath. Like, a weekend. And we had to put money into the activities, and we had to pay for our own accommodation, and we had to pay for our meals, and we had to pay for our drinks, and we had to pay for gifts. Now, at the time, I think I was, gosh, how old? Like, we're talking, how long has she been married? Oh, goodness me. I was in my early 20s. So, and at the time I was living with my parents. So I had more disposable income and not as much debt. And so things like mum paid for the accommodation because it was my mum and I that were invited. Mum paid for the accommodation, and then I paid for like the fuel, and then we ate cheaply outside of the events. But I saw that notification last night, and I think I messaged my mum, and I was like, because it was like, did you get the notification? Oh, and I just went, yeah, that's just one more thing I've got to pay for. And how awful is that? That sinking feeling of not, I get to go and celebrate someone's wedding and everything that comes with, and I'm thrilled that they've selected like me to be part of that. And that really did trigger this video actually, because I thought, oh gosh, the wedding alone is going to be expensive to attend. It's not near me. So we're going to start with the wedding, and the wedding encompasses like hen do, clothing, travel, accommodation, wedding gifts, anything like that. And they're getting married in Cornwall in August. Now, anyone in the UK knows how expensive it is to get accommodation in Cornwall in the summer holidays. Now, even if I go in with family, which may not be possible depending on what we can get accommodation-wise, plus the hen do, I'm going to say £2,000. And this is the absolute maximum. I want to spend under, but I have no idea how much this is going to cost. I'm not even going to do a breakdown of how much I should put away towards this for each month, because I would like to snowball these. And quite frankly, I have other things like getting a month ahead and an emergency fund to cover first. That's a little bit more important. But we're saying £2,000. I will come back and review this every couple of months and see where I'm at. A month over is another really, really big one for me. Now, for me to... There have been times, like I've said, where I've had a lot of the portion of my family debt is where my guarantor has had to pay because I've been behind on rent or I've not had the income there. So £1,500 covers a baser level of my bills. It doesn't give me any spending money, but it will allow me to feed myself, the cat, put fuel in the car, cover any unexpected things that top up. So I would like to get a month ahead or a month over. And I will... This is separate to an emergency fund. Now, I have really set thoughts about using emergency funds to cover monthly bills. I know that other budgeters do it, and that's completely fine by them. But for me, an emergency fund is for emergencies only. Your car's failed its MOT and you need to spend £300 like that day because you're within your 7-day window to get it fixed. If you don't have a car fund, for example, or you're stranded somewhere and you need to stay overnight, like a month over for me is there what it's meant to do, and an emergency fund is not. Now I'm going to start with a £500 emergency fund, and that is just because, you know, if I have money in other envelopes and the emergency is more than £500, I will of course pull from that. And if I were really in trouble, I could call parents or call family, and I know that they would help. But I'm going with a baby emergency fund of £500, but then I want a month over of £1,500. That is just something that I'm doing, and those are just my thoughts on that. Car care is separate to car funds. Now, car fund is a new car, not a new line car, but certainly a newer model of a car. And this is going to be a longer tail one because I want to keep my car running for as long as I can. So car funds... I'd like to get at least 2 or 3 more years out of my car, all being well. The way I assess that is if I start to need to repair the car more frequently and then the value of the repairs total up to more than the car value overall, that's when I will start to make that decision about do I need to replace the car. But we're going to say £3,000 for a replacement car. That's based on today's kind of very crazy second-hand car market. 2 or 3 years down the line, that may be too much, but I've only ever had a car. So my current car, for example, was £1,500 and the one before that was £1,200. And those are the only 2 cars I've ever known. So I'm hoping that £3,000 will allow me to upgrade to a slightly better non-18-year-old used car. But we'll go from there. And like I said, all of these will be reviewed. Car care is £1,000, which is the current value of my car. And that will cover things like MOT, unexpected repairs, new tyres, etc. Technology is very much a luxury saving fund. I think I have mentioned in other videos that I have things that are broken but still working. I will continue to use them until the moment that they do not work anymore. I am not someone that needs new technology. I've never ever gone for the latest iPhone, etc., or queued out at 4 o'clock in the morning to get the latest whatever technological thing. I just use what works well for me. I try and buy my phones outright, for example, and I am not averse to refurbished models. In fact, I prefer them more because I think they're a little bit better on the environment. But for me to replace everything technologically that I have, which is laptop, phone, tablet, lighting equipment for work and things, it would be around about £1,500. And again, I don't intend to spend all of that, and that is just something that is going to be a slow burner. Holiday. I don't take holidays. The most I may do is mini breaks. I don't like putting my cat in the cattery, for example, and trying to get cat sitters is not easy around here. It's annual leave, and actually I'd much rather just be at home. You'll see when I kind of fully set up my sinking fund binders and my day-to-day bill binders, I don't even have a social fund. I'm not an overly social person. I am quite introverted. I enjoy and am friends with the colleagues that I work with, and that's absolutely fine. I have 3 or 4 close friends who live spread out throughout the country, and I have close relationships with family, but I may eat out once every 6 weeks, and I see one friend for coffee a week. I'm coming across as really sad and boring. I'm not. It's just I like my own company, and I know that if I am constantly engaging in social events, I then get spendy. I used to do the shopping trips and the girls' days out and the spa breaks. I used to do all of that, but that was back when I felt like I had to, and I really wasn't very confident and sure of myself, and I was trying to keep up. And don't get me wrong, I love going shopping, but I just hated it because I knew in the back of my mind that it was going on, a credit card, or it was money that I couldn't afford, or I wouldn't be paying a bill. And I really loved and really treasured actually that just time to myself. So I don't have a social fund, which is why I have a couple more subscriptions that other people may not have in their budget, but I don't have a social fund, and I have a slow burning eating out fund instead. So holiday, let's just put £750 and we'll see what happens. That's not the priority one. The loan is the family debt, and what I would like to try and do is get to say £500 at a time, and then speak to that family member. I think like I explained in my debt payoff plan. So we're gonna say, gonna look at my great level of English there. I mean, to fully pay off the loan, as numbers stand currently, is £9,225. So I'm going to put that down there, but what I may then do is chunk that down and go from there. But let's just be true to the value of that's how much it would take. And then bills is if I want to make an overpayment. So like I've mentioned, my octopus bill, that is currently in arrears. I am relieved that the bills not increasing any more above the current amount. I do have lower than typical use because I am just a solo household and I am at work for most of the day, and I was already doing the switching off at the plug points and things. So I think my annual usage is only estimated to be £1,000, and that's with the bill increases. So we're going to put 300, and then that will allow me to make either a lump sum payment to some of my consumer debt or towards any bills if I start to fall behind or I actually want to put myself ahead. I don't have any annual subscriptions. Most things are paid monthly, but that will at least allow me to maybe look at, say, paying my car tax annually, for example, or if I choose to stay with Amazon Prime, I'm still in two minds about that, I can do that. So that is, for now, the total amount of savings sinking funds. These are all long term, with the exception of the wedding, which is in a year. However, in terms of if I were to go order of priority, we're going to go emergency fund, month over, bills, car care, because I do have an older car, so I do have to be mindful of that. I think wedding is 5, just because it isn't a year and the hen do will be earlier. The loan is going to be... The loan is going to be 6 because I am going to chunk it down. And again, I may play with this order. Like I said, I'm going to revisit it every couple of months or so. What's going to break first? Probably my technology. 7, 8, 9. So that's the order in which I'm going to do things. That may change, and in every couple of months I think I may just do an update to this video, but I'm going to snowball those. If we come now to my spending sinking funds, I'm just going to have a sip of the mocha before it gets even colder. So these are all my spending sinking funds, and they look they look excessive. Okay, so just go with me here, guys. They're not. I promise they're not. Now, I've tried to break this down into what are the things that catch me out that come along every kind of couple 2 to 3 months or so and impact my budget. I.e., I choose to go do something, I don't pay a bill, or I fall behind on things and I do it anyway. So that's what I've tried to do. Some of these may be slimmed down, and some of these are more nominal amounts. I'm not going to say that I'm going to prioritise these over these, but we're just going to go with it and roll with it and see. But I wanted to at least get something down on paper that's out of my mind, and then I can kind of work to it. So, Happy Mail. I think it's going to be a problem. You guys are creating some really, really beautiful stuff, and I keep seeing things that I don't want but do... No, I don't need but do want. So stop creating beautiful things, guys. So we're going to say £30 is what I would... And these are all minimum balances that I would like to hold in these envelopes. And so I know I've got something there. But I don't want to immediately stuff £30 into a happy fund, into a Happy Mail envelope, for example. It will just be a little bit here or there. These will be where the savings challenges come into play, with the exception of a couple of the slightly bigger ones, like over 1,000, which I'll put towards savings. But a lot of I'm going to saving challenge my way to this. So I hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just put a comment down below and I'll try and clarify it as best I can. So we've got Happy Mail. I would like £200 on clothing, and that is to kind of cover the year. I do get very, very, very generous clothing discount at the company that I work, and I'm not going to say where, but I am therefore able to get very nice clothing at lower than supermarket Primark rates, basically. and that is kind of a month's worth of discount allowance. If anyone works within retail, you'll know what that means. If not, again, no, actually I'll just say it here. Basically, the company goes, you have X amount per month at full price value that you can spend on anything, and we will then, you only pay then the discounted amount, but your final till balance before a discount is applied cannot exceed £200. So that's what I would like to have in there. House is going to be actually coming up first. Now, I have got some things, I think I mentioned it in one of my very first videos, that I've got some things I need to buy for the house just to winterfy it and try and keep that heat in. I do have a conservatory, and that makes my downstairs incredibly cold, even during winter, and yet even during summer actually, it was lovely being downstairs in my house when it was like 40 degrees. However, upstairs then gets very warm. So £100 should cover, and that's actually going to have to be something that at the end of this month that I'm going to do. So £100 I think should cover me being able to winterfy the house if I'm smart with my purchases, and then we will revisit that afterwards. Cat, the excess on his insurance policy is £100, so I would like to have £100 in the cat's folder just to be able to comfortably cover that excess should he needs treatment. I do have a slightly higher than most pet insurance policy, but that is because he is absolutely covered for just about everything that I could find, up to I think about £20,000 worth of treatment, because he is not going anywhere on me. In fact, he's actually just around my feet at the minute. So yeah, he's not going anywhere if I can help it. He's fine. Christmas, £200 is all I need for Christmas. I buy for immediate family, and I put a little bit in towards like the Secret Santas at work, which to be fair, they are capped at like £10, but I have 2 employers, so that's 2 lots of Secret Santas. I am one of these people that will go out in January and buy like the cards and the wrapping paper when they go down to like 50p, so I have those, but then that allows me to go through and go, okay, is there any like lights that are broken so I can decorate my house and get a bit of food. So Christmas is £200. I'm going really fast, I'm so sorry. Health, I do like to see a chiropractor. I've not gone to see her for a few months because funds have not permitted, and I do need eventually to do an eye test, and because I'm putting that one off, and to go to the dentist, and again that is also something I'm putting off. Now my chiropractor is £40 a session, and I am not sure what the current rates to see a dentist are, but I know the last time I went they charged me £70 to remove the tooth, so that's £111. And I think eye tests are cheap, but it's just glasses, and I do need to replace my glasses that broke 5 years ago. So let's say £200. That is just something that's going to be a slow burner. I'm going to come back to self-care. Days out are things where I'm not very good at being spontaneous because I can't afford to be spontaneous. Does anyone else again, the hen do is something that's going to cost money. So quite often I will make excuses and say that I'm working or I'm not feeling well or the cat's not very well and I just won't go. And so I just want £50 in a pot that if I want to be spontaneous and go on a day out somewhere, the money is there. This is very much a luxury pot, and it's not going to be an urgent one. And again, the same for like road trip. With the amount of hours I do a week and how my shifts are balanced, like if I somehow manage to get 3 days off together, I want at least the option to like go and do something, but cut petrol. It's extra petrol and I can't justify it. But to fill up my tank is £60. So I would like to have an extra £60 just sitting there and that's going to cover things like fuel. If I want to go see the cousin that's getting married, that's half a tank of petrol, there and back in total. So I've not been able to see her for 2 years because I just can't justify the petrol to go down the motorway and see her, which sounds sad. And I want to kind of keep those relationships open. But these are the things that you really have to consider when you are living alone and your income. I'm minimum wage, like straight up, I'm minimum wage to the penny. I have to do an excessive amount of overtime to afford things like a replacement Hoover. And that's if I were to do it properly and pay my bills and do everything. I have to do an excessive amount of overtime, and with the way things are going with my health and looking at doctors' recommendations, I don't think I can do that. So that's a separate video in terms of breaking down my income and how things change, but I am conscious of the fact that like my income doesn't allow at a basic level for any of this unless I do at least 10 hours extra overtime a week. And that's not sustainable, because then I end up doing 12 or 13 days in a row and 8 of them will be double shifts, and then you end up signed off sick because you've overdone it and your body goes absolutely not. Sidebar. Anyway, let's get back onto it. Rewards. I mentioned in my budget that I want to be able to do a series of small rewards, that nothing will ever be more than £10. So I'm going to stick £10 in there, and that will just be a basic balance. And then as and when I pay off a debt, or I reach a milestone, or I reach a sinking fund total, I've got that there. I'm never going to exceed £10, but £10 will always be sitting. And again, gifts, birthdays, christenings, weddings normally, but things like that. Now, I've already sorted out siblings' birthdays gifts for this year, which are in November, but I do have parental birthday gifts to buy in February. Thanks, universe, for that wonderful timing. So I've got to think and do this. Okay, so it's got to be for the whole year. 150. And that will be from January onwards. So actually that one is not going to be funded or even started until January. I'll have to go quite hard to start with, because again, I do have parents that need at least something. And we'll do that one there. Self-care, I've received a lovely free gift in the form of a self-care challenge, which the total is £60. So we're going to do that. And my birthday, I do like a mini break. Or I do like to do a kind of shopping day. Okay, this is going to seem excessive. I don't know and have nothing planned. But because I have nothing planned, I don't want to under-allow. So I'm going to put 450. Because I do go out of season and I don't know fully what I'm going to be doing. So we're going to put 450. That is going to seem excessive. If anything is subject to change, it's that one. But I want to put something down, and we just go with that. So let's look at this in terms of what we can snowball and what I need to do first. So the first thing that's coming up that's important is the house, because that is the end of this month. And again, this is the maximum that I would like to spend. I fully intend on spending under, but we're going to do house first. We're going to do rewards second. Again, they may actually just swap round, but we'll see what funds allow. Christmas is third. Cat is 4. I think I'm okay for winter clothing, but it may just be things like shoes, which could be a problem. And I'm just trying to think of what shifts I've got. We're going to put clothing as 5, but that may not be the full 200. Happy Mail is 6, and again, that may swap. Actually, no. Because I know what I'm like. Oh, why aren't these erasable? Okay, well, Happy Mail is 4. That is 5. Cat XS is 6. Days Out is 7. I have got the family visit to Warner Brothers Studios, so that would cover something. And that will cover that. Road trip is 8, because I would like to go and see that cousin in the next couple of months or so. 8. 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. That's fine. I'm happy with that. Right. So house is first. That's because timeline wise that is coming up first. Then we're going to jump to kind of not quite lowest to smallest. I've had to I'm waffling my words, right. I've had to look at when something is happening and then the amounts. So house is first, end of the month. Rewards is second. Based on how things are tracking, I'm going to be paying off a couple of things in the next month or so I need to cover that. Christmas is third. Happy Mail is fourth. They may swap places, depends how much excess income I have versus, how much debt I have. Clothing is fifth. That may be something that I dip into and send, so £20 here or there. Cat is sixth. He's got I pay for the pet plan, which is £10 a month, and that covers things like vaccinations and prescriptions and things like that. So that is really worth doing because his prescriptions alone are £9.70, and they may have even gone up since I've taken that price out. So I do pay for that. So that is just the excess if anything were to happen. 7 is days out, middle of October. We've got the Warner Brothers Studios trip. 8 is road trip. Again, I'd like to go and see that cousin. She is a teacher, so that would probably be around October half term or over a weekend. So that is number 8. 9 is health. I think by November it would have been a year since I've been to the dentist, so it's probably worth me going to get a checkup, but I don't need to hit all of this total. 10, self-care, nothing planned. We'll just see. We'll do that as a sinking fund challenge. 11 is gifts. That will be starting from January onwards. I will have to stuff that quite aggressively to start with, but then I can then lower it or go slower from March onwards. And then 12 is my birthday, which is $450. My birthday is in March. However, I feel like there are other things that I just want to get a little bit of a buffer going on first of all. And again, I'll be revisiting this probably at the end of October and then going from there and seeing where these are all sitting. And again, my long-term savings as well. So I hope in some way that makes sense. It feels really random and really waffly, and what I probably need to do is just do an overall look at my income as a whole and then go from there and do a full breakdown of my bills and things. But I need to get to the end of this month so that I can see that and look and see where I can increase my income that doesn't involve excessive amounts of overtime. Because while I think in my head that I'm 18 and I can do that, I can't. Not without them being signed off sick on base hours with no overtime, which I am conscious of impacting in October. I do have the freelance that is new as of this month, and that seems to be going well. We just need to make sure it can be maintained long term. That is making a huge difference actually. And like I say, we have this for now. So we're gonna savings challenge our way to this, and then we're gonna deal with this somehow. But yeah, thanks for coming along for the ride. My lungs are now expiring on me, so I am going to go, but very quickly, thanks for subscribing, following, messaging, direct messaging, leaving your comments, leaving your advice. For those of you that have headed over to my Vinted and had a look or purchased something, thank you so much. All of those parcels are now on their way. Has anyone noticed that Vinted takes like 48 hours to update the tracking, which is really annoying? It's horrible because there's nothing you can do about it except say to people like, the tracking will update, it has been sent. And then I need to do a plan for next week's videos, but I am literally going to go because breath is going. So thank you so much. I will see you next time. Thanks for watching. If I've waffled or something's not clear, direct message me or leave a comment down below and I will get back to you. But thank you so much, and I'm going to see you in the next video. Ta-ra!